thank you, Callista, so much for running around getting tonight. So can we just give a little round of applause to Callista, please? Our techie for tonight. And Costa is going to film. A little round of applause for Costa. Thank you. My name is Heidi Everett, and I'm going to be your awesome MC tonight. I'm not performing, but we'll see what we can sneak in. So first of all, I'd like to acknowledge Wurundjeri country, which we are all on tonight, this evening, and the Woi Wurrung people who are custodians of this land. I'd also like to acknowledge the people with lived experience here tonight. It's because of you the arts are fantastic. So tonight is called I Survived the Psych Ward Party. There are no little cupcakes or wine, but I can see some people have found the bar. There's some snacks over there if you want to pass them around. Or there is like a little escape aisle down the middle here, so otherwise when you're calling over people, make sure you take their wallet. Make it worth it. The only other time this many psych ward absconders were together were when we were in the psych ward thinking about absconding. So, and I am aware there are some psych ward staff here tonight too. So, my, how the tables have turned. We do have an access pack over there with earplugs for anyone sensitive to sound. We don't expect any loud noise tonight. There are also lanyards there for the staff who need them. If you need, just let that one sit for a minute. All right, shall we get going? We have a beautiful full program of performers tonight who are going to rip open the psych ward experience, but we're going to do it in a complex trauma-aware way. However, if anything does feel like it's percolating, please talk to one of us. You know, this show only goes for an hour, so you get more time than a psychiatrist. So let's get going. Our first performer tonight said, "Oh, do I have to be first again?" Well, hopefully I've cracked open the egg and now you're nice and simmering. So can we please welcome Sandy Jeffs to the stage?
Thank you, Heidi. Thanks for coming. Content warning for the staff in the audience. I'm sorry, I apologise now, but I don't really. It's a bit hard to see. Okay, this is called McMadness number 2. Okay. Hello. Do you have a Big Mac delusion? Is that one voice with grandiose ideas or 2 voices of persecution? Is your pendulum swinging wildly? Are you self-harming or feeling unremitting misery? Then drive through the fast psychiatry public ward. We'll have you McDiagnosed, medicated, McTreated and McSane in 2 shakes of a pill bottle. Please note, if your suicidal threats are only attention-seeking, leave now because you're wasting our time. McSanity is our business. Now that you are here, terms and conditions apply. You can only stay a few days, but don't worry, we'll get you McSane before you can say, "Can I have some compassion with that?" And by the way, if you are a woman, you'll be stalked, harassed and threatened and put into HD for your own safety. And don't stress if the staff think your fears are delusional. We'll give you drugs that will fatten you up, turn you into a zombie, fill your head with fog, kill your libido, make you dribble and constipated, sedate you to exhaustion, eventually bring on diabetes and cardiovascular disease and premature death. We'll have you McSane if it kills you. And we'll have you out of here like shit off a shovel because someone McMadder will need your bed. You will leave so traumatised you'll never want to set foot in a public psych ward again. And just to make sure you are somewhere in the system and don't do a runner on us, we'll slap a CTO on you. But cheer up because we'll offer you some therapy to help you cope with rejection, unemployment, poverty, isolation and PTS. And now for some therapy. Hello. How are the voices today? Keep taking the medication. Our time is up. See you in 6 months. Credit or savings. It's a McMad world. Everyone has forms to fill in, boxes to tick, I's to dot, T's to cross, performance requirements to meet, risk assessments to make, and pressure, pressure, pressure. Fast psychiatry is the name of this game. I'm McSane, we've done it again. But wait. In my wild psychotic fancy, I see a healing centre with art, music, poetry and filmmaking, curative gardens, therapy dogs, soothing sensory rooms, no seclusion rooms, no security guards, no fishbowl, empathetic mad comrades and healers of the soul. It's McMending with the lot, and some kindness and caring with that. Call me mad, call me insane. No psychiatry is the name of my game.
Sandy Jeffs, everyone. Can I also encourage you to do some whoop whoops tonight? So let's have a little practice. So 1, 2, 3. And yes! And woo! And for the blokes, I don't know, what would you do? Yep. Our next performer to the stage is Alicia in the house. Oh, does anyone want to be Alicia for the next 5 minutes? No? Okay, we'll give Alicia a chance to come in at the end. Do you know if she's coming tonight? No? We don't know. So our next performer to the stage, if you're ready, is... Now, I can actually put the mic up. So people say to me, don't stoop, Heidi. This is why. Can I also encourage you to take some photos? And we have a Flickr page, so you can upload them to Schizy Inc. Flickr afterwards for everyone to see it. Okay, our next performer to the stage is Michel Fairbank, and I think Michel is going to do some serious talky.
Hi, I'm Michel. I don't like talking much. I can be quite shy. I'm somewhat socially awkward, prone to social anxiety and stage fright. I am an enigma, a conundrum, having an intense fear of public speaking, yet I am humourless, but here on stage, telling jokes. A bit out of the old comfort zone, you might say. I'm not really a one-liner kind of guy. Prefer a bit of a yarn or two. Think of me as your favourite uncle. Tell us a story, Uncle Mitch. All right, folks, gather round the fire. Let Uncle Mitch tell you a love story. The year is 1989. Were you a nerd or were you cool? Were you an extrovert or were you an introvert? Were you loud or were you quiet? And then there was truth and pain. The truth of youthful love and the awful pain of unrequited affection. I bumped into a girl I knew from school. Turned out she was an amateur actor. And I thought to myself, maybe if I joined the theatre company, I could impress her. We could reacquaint. I could ask her out on a date. Great idea. So this theatre company was in desperate need for male extras. And I said, excellent. This meant no audition for me. Yes! So I'm there, outside the rehearsal hall, hand reaching for the door handle. Do I? Don't I? Do I? Don't I? Don't, I decided. And just as I went to leave, the door flung open. A hand grabbed my arm. Oh, good you're here. Yank! Into the hall I go, to be thrust straight into a chorus dance routine. Yes, Uncle Mitch, singing and dancing on stage. Just between you and me, I don't like musicals. I've never seen the sound of music. I don't want to. So there I was, a fish out of water, a straight young man in a notoriously flamboyant world, just to win a date with a girl. I was looking here, looking there. Where was she? She's missing rehearsals. So I asked around, but this girl, this young woman, was not only not in this production, but was with another theatre company. So, how did this end, you ask? Well, Uncle Mitch didn't get the girl, but this straight-up heterosexual male saw the production through to the end. Thank you. I'm Michel Fairbank.
Mitchell, I should have introduced you as comedy. Well, serious talky. I don't know. Sorry about that next time. Our next performer to the stage is another psych-warded abscondee, Jenny Hickinbotham. Come to the stage.
Go down. down.
How's that?
Great, thanks. Naomi.
Okay.
Thanks. Hey, I'm just going to read a bit of a poem. It's called The Ancient Occult of Schizophrenia. Emotional abuse, coercion, emotional dependency. That's what her mother propagated. Fastening her daughter's ankle to her rocky heart, fine barbed threads pricked at the daughter's fleshy heart. Kept her contained like Rapunzel. Imprisoned, daughter struggled to see through the gaslighting, the misinformation, the narcissism, to see her mother's barbarous cruelty. Daughter's psychologist said, well, she's a narcissist, and felt inclined to leave it at that. Friends told the daughter, but she's lovely. Don't say those things about your mother. We must all struggle to be free, says Tom Petty. He doesn't care that some must struggle against intentionally controlling, manipulative, cunning and calculating foe like the mother. She knows the great satisfaction of binding her victim in cords of web, slowly, mercilessly imbibing her daughter's core. The elixir of youth, mother lives on. He doesn't care about the ferocity, the subversion, the emotional turmoil, the struggle. He doesn't care about the voicelessness, the powerlessness, the invisible renderings of a cunning, calculating mother weaver, drawing upon ancient occults. Mirror, mirror. Petty says, you don't have to live like a refugee. Daughter grew up, struggling with the family's imposition. Her identity as a bag lady, wandering alone, isolated, sad, answering only to the tweaks of that fine occult web, those spidery tugs within her mind, sensory observations and demands. Her mother's voice sounded motherly but unique, like the ancient occult of schizophrenia. Someone to blame daughter, asking, what's wrong with you, daughter? Some try to empower her story, asking, what happened to your daughter? Emerging from wandering ditches, the daughter told her mother that a psychiatrist proposed the voice daughter heard weaving deceit and failure inside her mind is that of mother's very own voice. Mirror, mirror, the mother never hesitated. Take your medication, daughter, or you know what will happen to you, daughter. That chemical imbalance in your brain will flare. That chemical imbalance you inherited from your father. Lacking focus, lacking identity, struggling for concentration, knowing no memories. The mother's fine spidery threads disrupted, fragmented, disembodied her daughter's sense of self, her authenticity, her capacity, her energy, her presence, her persona. The mother's fine spidery weavings, enmeshing her daughter's mind, entombed the mother's secret. Her daughter on a string like Pinocchio. Chapter 2. Dear woman who used to be mother, to say she never missed you is daughter's greatest joy. To say daughter found love, love without coercion, love unconditional, love reciprocated, rich and compassionate, will irk you, we know. You never wanted your daughter to have anything, least of all love. You did things to ruin her life for your own reasons, because you will never speak about your motivations. We can only surmise. Dear woman, know that daughter's efforts to be free of your coercive interior voice, your punitive parenting, your insatiable desire for dominion, your Prospero-like power compelling reimbursements for all favours, took 65 years of daughterly life. But years worth the fighting, years worth the endurance and endeavour. During those worthy years, she sought and found beautiful people in her struggle to be free, beautiful people who surround her, advocating her strength, her journey, her complexity, joy and creativity. And to Dr. Caroline's persistence, her tenacity, her conviction, her know-how, she fucked up when mother's secret emerged from the cracked brain of escapee daughter. Secrets hid the cold, hard caverns of human perception. Dr. Caroline said, "No, your poor mother," recalling, no doubt, the horror of Lindy's journey. Thanks to daughter's friends, her fragmented, rocky mind unbroke, journeyed back into functionality. Dr. Ward emerged at truth's side, observing the orb weaver, leading, sharing and honouring daughter's pain, thrusting aside mother's mirrors, her occult dialect, her emotional prison of suffering and regret. Daughter knows who she is, and in knowing is strong. Before your life of suffering ends, mother, we hope you find a path to true freedom. Take courage. Face your past mistakes. Leave the occult for authentic demons and evil spirits. But never bother connecting. We don't need or want to know your chosen renunciation, parenting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Can we just admire also your fashion tonight, please? That you showed us something when you came in before. This beautiful, sparkly object around your neck. What is that?
It's a piece of jewellery made by a lady who lives down on the peninsula called April Maynard. And she's been making jewellery like I've had this 30 years probably.
Oh.
Going right back to the occult.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Heidi.
And while we're in this space, I'd like to invite another performer, spoken word artist, to the stage. And I know, Michel, did you do Jessie Oliver's spoken word course? And Jessie said, Jessie Oliver's a poet, spoken word, First Nations queer artist in Melbourne. And if you ever see them advertised, go and see them, because they did a workshop with us to teach the art of spoken word poetry. And one of the things that Jessie suggested that you do, when you agree with something a spoken word artist is doing, you click your fingers and you go, yeah. So for the next, 4.5 minutes, pretend you're at a really cool jazz club. And let's welcome Michel to the stage.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, this isn't a piece that I worked with Jessie, but it's another piece. Sorry, I have a breathing issue, so just let me catch my breath, sorry. Okay. Prior to my first compulsory admission in a public psychiatric hospital, my diagnosis had been clinical depression. In 2007, I found myself in a locked ward with a glass screen barricading me from my jailers, and I was reminded of a scene from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I was scared and I was angry, very angry. I banged on the glass screen, demanding to be let out. Nurse Hatchet and her cronies took no notice of me. So I ran out into the tiny concrete courtyard and I tried to scale the brick walls. After I fell onto the hard concrete, I picked myself up and ran back inside to the locked ward. There was a large television attached to the wall. The large television was covered by a protective plastic screen. Screaming at the top of my voice, I smashed the screen with my bare hands. Blood and plastic mingled together. Suddenly, a door opened, and the locked ward was full of people, and everyone was taking notice of me. They couldn't get enough of me. They pinned my hands behind my back, threw me to the floor and held me down. Someone jabbed me with a needle. And then I was dragged, kicking and screaming, to another locked ward. This second ward was tiny in comparison to the first, and there was no glass screen barricading my jailers from me. It was just 4 unadored walls, a solid metal door with a peek hole, and a cold, laminated floor. There was nothing in it except for a sole security camera high up on the ceiling and a cardboard pan of sorts, which I'm assuming had been dumped there for urinating and or excreting purposes. With a camera there to record my every move, I refused to use the pan, even though I really needed to relieve myself. I screamed at the camera like a banshee woman and vowed I'd make my jailers pay dearly for what they were subjecting me to. Eventually, my voice began to go hoarse, and despite my best efforts, I couldn't keep my tirade up. I could feel whatever it was that injected into me, seeping into the auricles of my brain. My limbs went weak, and then I blacked out. When I woke up, I found myself in a locked hospital bedroom. It was small and smelled like bleach. There was an ugly hospital bed, a single wardrobe without a door, a bedside table with one locked drawer, and an open shelf below it, and no window. It felt claustrophobic, and I wanted to run, but there was nowhere to run. I didn't know it at the time, but this bedroom I really, really didn't want to be in would be my home of sorts for the next 6 weeks. My overzealous outfit with a protective TV screen had earned me a new label, bipolar. Bipolar 1 to be precise, the more extreme version of the illness. Clearly, my indignation and protests had been locked up in a public psych ward for the first time in my adult life for reasons I was unaware of, were indicative of a person with a mental illness having a manic episode. I was, without a doubt, a danger to myself and possibly other people, and there was no other less restrictive means to help me than to lock me up and fill my traumatized brain with drugs that would make my body fat and cause my eyes and ears to see and hear things that weren't there. After the nurse had filled me in with how things were going to run now that I was locked up with my new label to boot, I went into the ensuite bathroom, shut the door, and stared at my reflection in the mirror. I shed my blood-stained clothes and counted my bruises. There were 10 in total. I turned on the shower and lathered the little block of soap the nurse had given me across my blood and tear-stained skin. The soap suds weren't strong enough to clear away my bruises. It took the best part of my 6-week stint of my first compulsory admission in a public psych ward for my bruises to fade. It's taken 15 years to try and erase the memory of them, but it's still a work in progress. With every subsequent compulsory admission, it's only reinforced the trauma of how they came to be in the first place. And now, thanks to the digital world, I've been able to take photos of the bruises my fellow human beings imprinted on my skin during my more recent compulsory admissions. I have image after image that I can pore over at my leisure. And when I really feel like the world doesn't give a shit about the abuse I've endured, I can turn on my phone, retrieve my images, and feel smug in the knowledge that I am right. No one gives a shit, except me and the other survivors of abuse whose stories no one wants to hear.
Michel. thank you so much for regaling that story, and I know that a lot of us in here have the images playing in our head from facts of our own stories, so thank you. A person in the US said once, a very famous person, said that when you tell your story, you're giving your key to someone else's prison that they can use to unlock. So thank you for that key, Michel. Our next performer to the stage I know very well because I was with them when they bought their little pet that they're going to bring to the stage. I think, Steph, how many of these pets do you have now, do you think? So can we welcome StephY to the stage, please? And her pet, Scratchy. And maybe you can tell us why Scratchy ended up with the name Scratchy, or not. You can just imagine it maybe. Do you need the music? Oh my gosh, how professional is this person?
Well, this ukulele I was in Mornington and I bought it at an antique shop, and it was pretty much brand new. But then I was showing it to Heidi and I tripped over this drain and I fell. But somehow I managed not to fall on the uke, but it got scratches, so that's why it's called Scratchy. So I hope you enjoy this song by Scratchy. My name is Ollie, and I'm eating a tasty dinner treat. Whiskers Ocean Life, Whiskers Ocean Life. At 6 p.m. every night I meow at my human, please feed me. Whiskers Ocean Life, Whiskers Ocean Life. And if I eat up all of my dinner tonight, I will grow up to be happy, healthy and strong. My name is Ollie, and I'm eating a tasty breakfast meal. Whiskers Ocean Life, Whiskers Ocean Life. At 9 a.m. every morning I meow at my human, please feed me. Whiskers Ocean Life, Whiskers Ocean Life. And if I eat up all of my breakfast today, I will grow up to be happy, healthy and strong. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. And if I eat up all of my food, all of my Thank you very much.
Sorry, scratchy. Charlie was actually starting to scratch. Dog knows language. Another performance of the stage. It goes up and it goes down and it goes up and it goes down. Our next performance of the stage, when a few people here said, "Oh my gosh, is this person here tonight? You should have seen the stars coming out of the eyes." And I agree. There's a few people here tonight who should be at a conference. So we're really grateful to welcome Flick Grey to the stage in the art space. Amazing. Welcome.
Freedoms. I think I'm a little bit shorter than I think. A little. Thank you. I don't know, I didn't have a printer, so I've got my computer. I think I'll be all right. No, I think I'm gonna, yep, thank you. Hello everyone, and welcome to Freedom School. I'm one of the trainers here at Freedom School. Flick Grey's my name. It's lovely to see so many of you here. I actually really love being around my people. Lovely to see you. I'm also sad though that so many of you are here because no one comes to Freedom School unless you've lost your liberty and you need some tips for getting out. Getting the hell out of hell. So look, we know the 2014 Mental Health Act, in theory, was about promoting voluntary treatment as much as possible, but well, here we are. And as for the 2022 Mental Health and Wellbeing Act, well, here we are again. So I'm sure many of you will have read the Freedom School website and brochure, but just to recap, we have some wonderful subjects coming up, including circus skills for all bodies, especially those who've doubled in size due to antipsychotics, reclaiming your self-esteem after an NDIS assessment, navigating the space between brilliance and madness, a very important skill, and finding your spirit animal and what to feed them. So I'll be introducing the unit that I teach, Absconding 101. That is 101 ways to abscond. The skills that we teach you are actually evidence-based. We are the evidence, and many of these are extremely liberating. But first up, I wanted to share my credentials. What can I say? I've been absconding from Psych ward since 2011, thank you. From memory, I've absconded from 7 different high schools. Apparently, once you reach 10, you get a letter from the King. I've done a little bit of work nationally, absconding from psych wards in both Victoria and New South Wales. Woo! I've worked in both the public and the private system. Definitely different worlds. So, you know, in the private system, you're not really meant to be locked up as such, but yes, the locks are still there. The main difference, I must say, is how many staff will chase you down the street. I think the record for me was 20 staff at one hospital. I know, right? Pro tip, do run into the parts of the hospital that are under renovation. Staff won't follow you into those areas. True story. But there was no staff, 0 staff chasing me at another hospital. At the latter, I was gone for 2 hours and no one had even noticed. I had literally absconded so I could see my psychiatrist. True story. Because good luck getting any help inside the psych ward. And when she rang the hospital, I kid you not, they actually hadn't noticed I was gone. You can guess which one was public and which one was private. Although I will add that absconding from private and having 20 plus staff chase you down the street is an absolute hoot. Definitely fond memories. but does have the nasty side effect of being pretty much a surefire ticket to getting kicked out into public. That's right, they chase you down hard so they can kick you out. So some of the skills we'll be teaching you at Freedom School include passing as a member of staff. Now, personally, I go for social worker, but that's because I'm a white middle-class do-gooder woman who dresses like a social worker anyway. It's about the clothes, Birkenstocks, funky Fitzroy, yep, and attaching yourself to a big enough group of staff that no one will notice you slipping out. Again, true story. Tip number 2, orienting yourself. Being sure you know which way is downhill from the hospital, as I can tell you from experience, running uphill after a week of hospital food is less fun than running downhill. So we offer some advanced skills, such as starting the race tied down with your shoelaces removed. Woo! Again, not impossible. I will say it takes a good chunk of time and a bit of flexibility getting out of restraints. I'd recommend 4 yoga classes a week. To chew through the tape before being able to undo the restraints, jump up and do a runner. But if you're going to try this technique, I definitely advise you to know the layout of the hospital. I personally took one wrong turn and ba-bow, that was a fail. And let's just say they were not so lovely after that. Or before that. Anyway, and finally, climbing skills, or more importantly, observation skills. How to figure out which fences and doors meet requirements, as well as how to gather this information without it being blatantly obvious that you're doing everything you can to get the hell out of there. Remember, smiling and nodding at staff and being generally undercover until you're ready to run for dear life. I can recommend heading to the ocean if you're lucky enough that the hospital is seaside. But yeah, again, you can probably guess whether that hospital was public or private. So looking forward to seeing you in class. Thank you.
Please tell me you do that all over Australia. No? That was fantastic. All right, let's keep the woohoos going for another performer who's going to come on stage and unpick the Psych system. Are you ready, Juliet?
I am ready.
Juliet Sironi.
Now, I'm very short and this is very tall. This is good. Oh. Hello, Melbourne Fringe Festival. How's everyone doing today? You're woo. I'm woo too. Excellent. Now, clap your hands and make some noise if you have had no mental health experience whatsoever. Shit, tough crowd. Okay, try something else. Make some noise and clap your hands if you have had lived mental health experience like me. Woo! That's right, you are all awesome. You do deserve a round of applause. And make some noise and clap your hands if, like me, you've been in a psych ward. Woo! All right, that's not all of you, but that's fine. I can work with that because I have my handy-dandy little notebook and I've actually prepared a list so we're all on the same page about my favourite things about being in a psych ward. Let me just find that list. Shit. I'm sorry, that list doesn't exist. I like nothing about being in a psych ward. But I do have a different list, an alphabetical list, of all the things I would rather do than be in a psych ward. And because I've got this lovely group here today, I actually would love it from the bottom of my heart if you could work with me to read out that list. Are you ready? Great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up a letter of the alphabet. And then when I do that, I'd love you to call out that letter at the top of your lungs, and then I will tell you what the item on the list is. Now, I haven't actually timed this. I'm assuming it's going to take the entirety of my set, but let's just, fingers crossed, winging it. All right. So, things I would rather do than be in a psych ward. thing. I'd rather do anything than be in a psych ward. What was that, Heidi? Funding has been cut for this joke just like it has in the public mental health system. Okay, moving right along. New joke. Now, as you might have guessed, and I was a little bit subtle, but psych wards aren't the funnest places in the world. You've got people who are cranky and crabby and highly medicated and pretty much having the worst day of their life every day that you're there, and that's just the staff. But, maybe I'm being a little bit mean about this. In truth, I have had some deep and meaningful, lovely experiences in the psych ward. It's inevitable, you can bond with people. So I'd like to share one of those beautiful experiences with you today, just so you get a full understanding of what it's like. So during my last admission, which was 13 years ago, I was not doing very well, which is generally when you end up in a psych ward, when things aren't going too great. And I was having a deep and meaningful with someone, and I confided in them. Last week, I did try and take my own life. I did attempt suicide, and I've got to say, it was a really lovely experience what happened next. They looked deep into my eyes. They took my hand. They actually put my hand over their heart, and they said, well, actually, I've got no idea what they said because my eyes were drawn to this poster in the distance, which said, if at first you don't succeed, try again. That's terrible advice for a suicidal person. Honestly, I much prefer the advice on my t-shirt, which is of a sloth, and it says, don't do it. Because, Sunday afternoon, don't do exercise. Totally agree. You know what else is terrible advice? I've had depression since I was 13 years old, and people always say, cheer up, just cheer up, Juliet. Frankly, I expected much better advice from my psychiatrist. And much better value too. I paid $300 for that session. I didn't even get a happy ending. And now that I think about it, I'm not too happy with my counsellor either. I actually met with her the other week, and I said, I think I'm going to have a breakthrough. And she said, that's all the time we have today. And I said, but look, it's really important that we talk. It might stop me from self-harming, but she cut me off. Now, look, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. This is so special to me to be in front of you great people. When I first became depressed at age 13, my parents didn't want to know about it. They taught me to be ashamed of it, which was a difficult journey. I had hormones and depression. That's the dog. The dog, oh yeah. Yeah, it does suck. He's been there. Survivors on this stage. And my teachers didn't want to know about it, and even my counsellors, I often felt worse leaving their session than going in, which was pretty difficult given I was suicidal quite often, so that didn't work terribly well. So I found the more I open up to people, I meet great people like this, I can help other people get through it, and it's a really great thing. So I would just like to, you've all made me really smile and happy today, and I hope I've done the same with you. So I just want to end on one joke, and it's a knock-knock joke, just so you can smile as much as I've smiled today. Okay, are you ready? Knock, knock. Yeah. Awesome audience. Woo! Thank you so much. You've been great. And let's give a round of applause to our canine survivor too.
We just give a quiet little round of applause for Charlie, who just won't get off the stage because he loves the performance so much. And Charlie's human person, Mary, who's brought Charlie tonight. Thank you, Mary. Juliet, was that your first comedy routine or have you been doing that for the last 17 years? Wow. Keep doing it. I know we're going to go a few minutes over. Is that okay? Oh, wow. Look what we started. All right. Michel, Tuomy, are you ready to come to the stage? Oh, good. Can stand up straight. Michel, Tuomy, playwright.
Hello everyone. My piece is a bit more serious. It's about psychiatry. So I want to give everyone an insight into it. I've written about the good, bad and ugly of psychiatry. We will start with the ugly. I had a voice inside my head. I was convinced the voice was that of Delta Goodrum, and I believed we were in love. The doctor said, "I'll let you in on a little secret." Osho said, Osho being the guru of the sannyasins, used to be known as the Orange People. Even if you sleep with the most beautiful woman in the world, you'll still have problems. By sharing his guru's words with me, the psychiatrist had me high on the list of recruits for the Orange Sannyasin family. This was the ugly of psychiatry, where a doctor intrudes into your mind in a self-centred way. Ugly Doctor 101. Now for some bad psychiatry. I was locked inside the high security ward of a psych unit. The doctor came and sat next to me. The doctor said, "You're a voluntary patient, not an involuntary patient," meaning I would accept treatment and not be put on a CTO, community treatment order, when discharged from the psych unit. A CTO is put in place when the doctors judge you to be unwilling to receive prescribed treatment. Yet on my discharge, I was handed a CTO, 12 months of involuntary treatment. Bad Doctor 101. Now for some good psychiatry, because I know there are good psychiatrists in good psychiatry. Dr. Hope by name and nature. I walked into Dr. Hope's office. She said hello and asked me if I had any questions of her today. I said I did, but I was happy to wait until the end of our interview. Dr. Hope said kindly, "Ask your questions now." My first question. I'm writing a theatre play, Little Brother, Big Sister, and I'd like to know what a psychiatrist would like the public to know about the condition schizophrenia, which I've had for close to 25 years. Dr. Hope by name and nature gave me quite a straightforward answer, that with the right treatment and medication, this unruly condition can allow a person to lead a normal life. We all want to live a normal life. She said, "I have a physical condition that without medication for a week, I would be unable to live. And that's a rarity." Wait on. And how I should see my medication as life-saving. Psychiatrists sharing their personal life is a rarity, and done with so much honesty. Dr. Hope by name and nature said two things that I will always remember. One, you should consider what you're like on your hospital admissions, so I don't return. And secondly, that the beauty of psychiatry is handing a person back the reins to have responsibility over their own life. Good Doctor 101. So I'll try to match the humour that we've had so far, but I probably won't succeed. Now to finish off, funny psychiatry. A story with three characters. Myself, my case manager Sigrid, and Dr. Radu. Sigrid told Dr. Radu that I was a surfer. This lifted the lid on the doctor's own misspent youth of chasing waves. The funny doctor became quite profuse and began retelling all these stories of surfing in the 70s. He became so caught up in his own memories, Sigrid took my case folder out of his hands and placed them in my hands with the words, "Michel, now you are the psychiatrist." at which Dr. Radu shuddered and spooked by the possibility that he was a patient. Oh, you better give those files back to me. Dr. Radu, a funny Doctor 101. An apt ending for my treatise on psychiatry, which leaves me with the suggestion that patients should take notes on their psychiatrist, evening up an uneven playing field between psychiatrist and patient. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. That was fantastic. Beautiful. And Michelle's play is called Little Brother, Big Sister at La Mama in June. It's going to happen. Our next, we've got 2 more performers and we've got 30 seconds. Can you do it? So Sue Roberson is going to come to the stage and I think he's going to do 2 minutes of ad-lib and then we've got Naomi Fries to wrap it up and send us off to the night in some sort of mode. I'm not sure what you're going to do. Could be a surprise. Sue Roberson.
I'm Ross.
And Ross.
Not used to microphone. My name's Sue, and I got in a ticket. I've actually got 1 ticket. I'm on 101 plus more. I've got more. So I've got all these meadow because I believe in a multi-diverse. I've got Ross here. I don't think he's part of the meadow, but he's my friend. Yeah, I'm not used to it. Look, I was born in a family that was great, and I was born a hippie, a little baby, like a hippie, believe in peace, love, and liberation. And I'm adding in social justice, social change. I've seen a lot in my life. I've got the best escape story. I've heard a lot of escape stories. In fact, I learnt to escape by tabletop discussions in the ward, and I learnt good stuff. But the best escape story I think I've ever heard was people in the old institution of Lavundle, and they got dragged into the most secure ward ever, and 3 of them, they locked them up like in central, tiny part of the secure ward, and they managed to escape. And we're like, isn't that great? Because you all knew them, knew about their extra escape times, and I tried to escape a lot. I didn't go far enough, I worked out. So these people, actually, 3 of them, eventually we got told by the psychiatrist, actually at a meeting, we shouldn't be doing this. They went to Perth and wrote a postcard to say, hello, we're doing well over here. And they couldn't actually get them over in Perth, apparently, because it was all state-based then. So I learned the really good way. I haven't been to Perth, but I did go far. Now I learned to go upstairs. Yeah, the renovation, it's good building sites, anywhere. Out the front door often, I mean. But I escaped forever. I'm never going back. So, and yeah. And so I think everyone should escape. We should open all the doors. Everyone come out and come and play. Because I think that's the best thing ever. Have fun and play.
That was shaped.
Sorry. Can I take it out, Heidi?
Can we just do like like somebody's going to do cricket or something? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Naomi Fryers!
So I'm a writer usually, and I decided to do a poem tonight, and I thought it would be funny. And Mum agreed that it was funny, but now I'm reevaluating all my life decisions, so this could go anyway. I survived the psych ward, made it out without self-harm, when the place is like an Olympic event in trying to stay calm. Got locked up as a mental patient, much to my good luck. I can still remember that musty smell and that feeling of what the fuck. I navigated round those big white walls, I ducked the flying chairs, avoided piercing gazes and nodded at blank stares. I survived the psych ward like a cup of water in torrential rain, not particularly useful but could tip you over all the same. Accessed my clinical notes years later, pretty candid about my looks, one overweight presenting female thought the scruffy bit was cooked. Very sick girl, exclamation mark, noted one professor, see. How's that for clinical judgment? Bet he's glad he got that degree. I survived the psych ward in the days you could still smoke, narrowly avoiding being accosted by some random massive bloke. I may not be a reliable narrator, and who would know but me? They fed me pills till my head nearly popped off and I could barely fucking see. I eventually escaped that place of hell, the divvy van, the depot, the works, where the shrinks never admired my humour but notated all my quirks. I survived the psych ward. They had to force me to eat. Even food I couldn't recognise, they tried to pass as meat. My bobby pins were contraband. I couldn't work out why. Felt worse thinking about some poor bloke in case they took his fly. They confiscated some random shit, whatever that they could see, including your humour and your wit, plus your dignity. I survived the psych ward, saw the patients who hooked up, heard legendary tales of absconders, told the nurses, "You're corrupt." While I was locked in there that time, I rang the lawyers from a phone. When they hung up, I tried Oprah. The receiver claimed she wasn't home. I took the meds, bloody Sarah Cool gave me the munchies mean, but I fought it out like a titan to get leave for the vending machine. I survived the psych ward, its own unique brand of hell, the staff muttering to themselves, or were they patients? I could never really tell. I slept with one eye open, on the sheets all starch white and crisp. They had plastic designed for just in case you piss. I wasn't sure I'd make it out, thought I could have died in there. A co-patient told me to go to Jenny Craig like I wasn't weight aware. I survived the psych ward, some wouldn't last a day, but I'm a better person for having lived through it. I don't care what they say. I learned to play the game in there. I came to dodge the staff and keep the yarns right up my sleeve, because Christ, you've got to laugh. They told me I was chronic, said my prognosis was poor, and yet here I am despite it all, tougher than before. I survived the psych ward, the urine-stained couch and all the bits. Met others, traded conspiracies until the well ones called us skits. We freaked out over corruption, the system, the firm, the PM, and no one batted an eyelid because it was always us v them. Enjoyed our own renditions of the Beatles, sang Cat Stevens classics too. Butchered all the legends' greatest hits, was like cats being maimed on cue. I survived the psych ward, I really don't know how. It's full throttle in there, you know, I wouldn't have the ticker for it now. What a wild adventure, lost the plot, marbles my mind. It didn't seem to matter I was in a gown with bare behind. I emerged the other side of this, even lived to write this ditty. I gave a cough, my gown fell off, I flashed the nurse a titty. I survived the psych ward, and this is all I got. A stupid rhyme about a time I wish I had forgot.
Could all the artists come on stage, and we're going to give a great send-off. all know how to woohoo now, so let's give the artists the biggest woohoo you've ever got. And chuck those streamers, because it's all on film. Thank you, everyone, so much. Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hooray! Thank you so much, everyone. Now, like 6 weeks and 5 seconds in a psych ward, go home.